Okay, everybody, welcome to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week's portion is Behar B'chukotai. It's a double portion. We are in volume 16, Behar, verse 69. And let's invite in the lineage of Kabbalists, the Rav and Karen Michael, Rabbi Schlag, Rabbi Brandwein, the Riyah Kodesh, Ramchal, Rabbi Tatzon, Rabbi Zulai, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Avatevsk, Rabbi Kolonimus Shapir P.S. Setzna, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Shimon Bar Chaya, and all the students. Rabbi Mordechai of Chernobyl, whose anniversary of elevation was yesterday, so we got a strong connection to him. And one soul with Yosef Tzaddik, Joseph the Righteous in Shechem. So as we connect to these verses, wherever we are located, we want to have a connection to, this is following Lag Bomer. I mean, Lag Bomer literally is the day that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, author of the Zohar, chose to elevate from this physical realm. So we're taught by our teachers that the day that you leave this world, the day that certainly a righteous soul leaves this world, all the light they revealed in their lifetime is available on that day. So literally all the light that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai revealed in his lifetime is available on Lag Bomer, the day he elevated from the physical realm. That's a lot of light. And that's why Lag Bomer is such a significant day for us, because it's all the light of the Zohar available to us in a day. And we amplify that light by reading the Zohar on Lag Bomer and doing other things to connect to the spiritual wisdom and the lineage on Lag Bomer. So that's this week. So we still have that. We still have that energy is still around. It's not as strong, but that energy of this week is still here. As, of course, we move into the energy of Shabbat. So there's energetically a lot going on. The other thing is that during the first 33 days, it's a much of the Omer, it's a heavier energy. But from Lag Bomer on, things open up a little bit. We typically don't do weddings in the first 33 days. Afterwards, we can. There are definitely things that we can do because energetically the cosmos is opening up. As we proceed towards Shavuot, which is approximately today being the 36th day of the Omer, there's another 14 days. Actually, it's 2 weeks from last night is Shavuot, in which we reached the number 50, which is the gates of Binah, which is a very high connection. So that's where we are. That's where we're headed. Let's dive in. But I want to also, before we do, let's have a consciousness of connecting to the energy of Avat Chinam, unconditional love, of removing negativity from our realm, of protection from negativity, protection from evil eye and evil speech. Let's also connect the energy of healing for everyone we know who needs healing, and also energy of elevation for those people we know are transitioning, and send them energy of comfort and on their journey, and also connect to the energy of treating everyone with human decency. Okay, verse 69. Anyone want to volunteer to read English for us today? Okay, Ron, thank you. Verse 69. Uveginda chova da adam abar alva yetzav Hashem Elokim ba'okmuha in tzav el avodah arba ale arkible betipat terach deve ratach l'kutrichu da abar al tzav mi avodah zarah adar betiyuvta betavar tzulmin da avodah zarah l'chol mizonei dilei hutakin b'ma dechav betavar chova uvinyana bisha devana ba'amlich le l'kutrichu Ushkinte al alma. Okay, go slow.
Okay, Adam's sin was therefore against, and Hashem Elohim commanded.
Okay, so the Creator commanded when Adam was in the Garden of Eden, you can eat from the tree of life, but you shall not eat from the tree of knowledge. And that's the way I was taught. We ate from the tree of life, we don't eat from the tree of knowledge. But it's not the tree of knowledge. It's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And so he went against that directive. His sin was against, don't eat from that tree. Now, at first blush, what did he do? He ate an apple. And somehow it's the original sin and the world was changed. And the question I ask is like, what's the big deal about eating an apple? So there's obviously a lot more to this. And let's continue.
We explained that command refers to idolatry.
Okay, so the verse that's cited from Bereshit, the creation story, when Adam and Eve are still in the Garden of Eden, the word in that verse is commanded. And command is referring to idolatry. And so the question is, why is eating an apple idolatry? We eat apples all the time. Jelly apples, caramel apples, where does idol worship come in to eating an apple? And so the first opportunity we have is one of our own consciousness. Like, what is going on here? Because that sin of eating the apple continues to this day. So what is the transgression? Yes, Roshan.
Yeah, it strikes me that the apple symbolizes our temptation to physicality and to be identified with that.
Okay, that's great. No, you're on the right track. Absolutely. But let's dive a little deeper into the story so we understand a little bit more. You're on the right track. He ate the apple, but it wasn't just he walked up and picked the apple. No, the snake, the serpent, told Eve to eat the apple. And what did the serpent say? Hey, take a bite of the apple. And he's like, oh, no. The Creator said if we eat the apple, we'll die. And the serpent's like, hey, look, I'm eating the apple. I'm not dying. And so at one level, Eve's like, oh, I guess you're not. And the serpent went on. The Creator doesn't want you to eat the apple because it's the tree of knowledge. And he doesn't want you to be as smart as he is. But I'm eating the apple and I'm not dying. And my eyes are open. What did their eyes open to? Good and evil. This is what we perceive. This is part of what we're perceiving right now. We can't tell the difference. We can't see what's good and what's bad. I don't know if that's good for me or bad for me. I have no idea. I can't tell. Because it's body consciousness, and to Roshan's point. We're so tied into physicality. Your soul knows the right journey. Your soul knows the right decisions to make. But we're so absorbed by physicality because we ate from the apple of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that we can't connect to our soul. So part of what we gain here is the ability to see beyond physicality, to see beyond body consciousness. By the way, the snake said, I'm eating the apple, I'm not dying. No one said death would be immediate. That was when we channeled death into the world. We do die. We have the appearance of death, I should say. It's part of the illusion because your soul doesn't. So we're so tied into physicality that we actually think people pass away. That's why as Kabbalists, we're always very careful to term it as the soul elevates. Because the soul never disappears. The soul doesn't die. The soul just moves from realm to realm. Again, we're in Behar, volume 16, and it's verse 69. So, so big deal. We ate the apple. It was a mistake. We listened to the snake. Big mistake. The original sin. We usher in this physicality, this inability to distinguish between good and evil in this world, between positive and negative. It's very difficult to distinguish that. And we usher in death. But where's idol worship? So the the idol worship part is as follows. Idol worship in this context is when we ascribe a power to a physical object that's independent from the creator. So, my default is my lucky rabbit's foot. If I have my lucky rabbit's foot, everything's going to work out fine because that lucky rabbit's foot bathes me in positive energy of luck. Or like, I have to sign a contract. Where's my lucky pen? Or, oh, it's an interview. I better wear my lucky suit with my lucky tie. We're ascribing powers to physical objects that they don't possess. So that's one form of idol worship. Your good fortune comes to you from the creator, not from the lucky pen, not from the lucky tie, not from the lucky suit, not from the rabbit's foot. And you'll be like, well, wait a second. What about astrology? I mean, we look at stars, we look at constellations, and those things have an impact on us. Yes, they have an impact on us. That's how energy of the creator arrives in a differentiated state. We live in a realm where there's differentiation. So the stars impel us, but they don't compel us. I mean, we or maybe they compel us, but they don't impel us. The point is that nature does have an impact on us. So like the sun and the moon don't have an impact, but that is how different aspects of the light of the creator end up in our physical world. And so our job is to overcome nature, is to overcome the impact of the astral influences. Yes, Suzanne.
So just the word lucky, it's like to me, it's a total contradiction. You know what I mean? Like, it's not soul consciousness, luck. Like, what is that?
Right? I know.
Right. It's just like, whatever. I had to just say that.
Yeah, no, I one of the first, well, not one of the first things, but among the things that I've struggled with is this, since I've been studying Kabbalah for the past 17 or so years, is this idea of luck. There's no such thing. There's nothing's arbitrary.
Right. Like the whole concept of certainty and doubt, and it's doubt, right? Like it's a doubt.
Well, it's basically saying, good luck. Like, I hope, the wheel of fortune lands for you in a positive way. Right?
Yeah.
I pick Wheel of Fortune. It's been in the news lately, but that's really what it is. And what about this idea of mazal tov? We translate that as good luck. So isn't that embedded in the fabric of the culture? Mazal tov, mazal tov, mazal tov. So is that? My mom is working the ice spray. So is that? I don't know if you can hear the background noise. So where's mazal tov? So again, there is a wheel. It's just not arbitrary.
Hey, David.
Yes.
What's coming up for me is totally on a tangent, and I think somebody may have dropped it in to one of the WhatsApp chats. I forget. Was it here where it doesn't matter, some foreign country, some small country says we're going to send our people to the sun? Does anybody remember this? It's super quick. It says we're going to send our people to the sun, and then you have like all the major powers say you'll die if you do that. He says, no, we plan to land at nighttime.
Right.
Right. But wait, it's just interesting because we think about the sun and the moon as we think about it, right? It doesn't go away. Right. Again, talking about influences and stuff. We just see it, right? When the moon, it grows and then, wanes and waxes, right?
Waxes and wanes, yeah. And every day we watch the sunrise, and we're so stuck in our own orbit that we don't realize the sun never rises. The
Yeah.
sun never rises.
Right. And actually,
The earth, here's the sun, the earth rotates.
right.
That's how the sun rises.
Did Stacy, again, I want to say that we put this in, and did you see they actually came out with a visual that, no, it's not even that, David. They were showing it as like there's the elliptical.
Yes, okay, we did it. That was amazing. In other words,
Yeah.
we see our solar system, our sun, and we see the planets. They look like they rotate in a very like organized way. When reality is the sun is flying through space, and the visual, the graphic is freaky, fascinating. But again, this is like, we get stuck in certain mindsets, and we use those mindsets as a framework for figuring life out. And part of what we need to do is blow those mindsets away and look at things from a fresh perspective, especially if we want to channel more blessings into our lives and the lives of the people around us. It's like that classic definition of insanity, which is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. If we want to see different things happening in our lives, we need to go about it in a different way. So the power that this section offers us as we unpack the original sin of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is it gives us the opportunity to look at our life in a different way and understand, like, in what ways am I ascribing powers to physical objects that I shouldn't be? And it doesn't even have to be a physical object. It could be my financial future is determined by my boss, my lawyer, my accountant. No, they're just channels. They're just players in your movie. There's a grand scheme that's going on, a grand plan that's playing out for you individually. Ours crisscross at times, but every one of us has a unique journey that we're on. And so understanding the impact that the world around us has on us gives us the ability to make better decisions, make more appropriate decisions. It's like looking at the weather. Am I wearing a heavier jacket today, or is today the day I bring the umbrella, or is today the day I just wear, like, a t-shirt? How do I show up in life? And part of that is knowing when those windows in time are available for us to channel greater blessings, like Shabbat, like tonight and tomorrow. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, since he sinned in idolatry, he
Oh.
formed him. That is, he caused him to incarnate in Terah's drop of semen, in which he vexed, namely angered the Holy One, blessed be he, thus transgressing in idolatry. Since Terah was idolatrous from a drop
Okay,
of...
so what are we talking about here? So since Adam was idolatrous, he got an opportunity he got a second chance. What was Adam's second chance? Who was Terah? Terah was Abraham's father. So what the Zohar is telling us is that Abraham is the reincarnation of Adam. And Abraham does a tikkun, does a correction for Adam's sin. I mean, that's incredibly powerful. I've heard our teachers say, there were a lot of enlightened souls in Abraham's time. Why does Abraham get cast in the Bible, in the Torah, as such a prominent figure? Because he is Adam. He's correcting for the original sin. Well, how does he correct for the original sin? Well, Terah, I don't know if you know the story, we're going to talk about it. Terah, Abraham's father, anyone want to take a guess what business he was in? Peter knows because we talked about this. Ellen knows too. He
know
was in
too.
the business of selling idols. That's what Terach did. Had an idol shop, probably the biggest in the land. He was known as the place you go to get idols. And as the story goes, he said to Abram one day, listen, I'm leaving in charge of the shop. I got to go somewhere. And when Terach returns, all the idols are destroyed. And Terach says to his son Abraham, I asked you to watch the shop. What happened? And Abraham says, oh, you're not going to believe it. That idol over there picked up the mallet and destroyed all the other idols. And then what happened to the idol? Do that? Well, I was so upset with him. I took the mallet and I destroyed him. Something like that. That's the story I was told in kindergarten. Something like that. So it's just a story, but the Zohar is pointing out that Abraham was given the opportunity to correct for Adam's sin. How? It was perfect. He was born into the family. He was born to the father of the biggest idol worshiper in town. And that's why, that's the connection. And for us, this is an opportunity to understand that every situation we encounter in our life is designed to assist us in working on what we came here to work on. Don't ask why you have the parents or family or any other situation you have. You're here to work on that. Every situation, there's no exception. Now, Abraham's was much more significant, perhaps, because literally he's correcting for the original sin. And so he represents the correction for that. And not only did he, let's continue.
From a drop of his semen came Abraham, who was an incarnation of the first man. Abraham did penance and smashed the images of idols and all the victuals placed before them. He mended the sins of Adam and Terach and smashed the sin and the evil edifice he built, namely the edifice of the klipot of Adam, caused to be built by his sin. And he made the Holy One, blessed be he, and the Shekhinah to rule over the whole world.
So you want to know what the significance of Abraham is? That's the significance of Abraham and other things. I mean, he continues to do other things, but right off the bat, the guy's a rebel. He's singularly the most unpopular guy in the world for destroying all the idols, because it was an idol worship culture, and he destroyed all the idols. And not only did he do a tikkun for Adam, a correction for Adam, karmically, he corrected the sin of Adam in eating the apple. He also does a correction for his father Terach, who was selling the idols. So that was huge. But with the Zohar and Rav Ashlag referred to, he smashed the sin and the evil edifice he built. What was the evil edifice that Adam built by eating the apple? Well, Rav Ashlag explains that's a reference to the klipah or the klipot. What is a klipot? What are klipot? Is plural. What is a klipah? So a klipah is a shell. Literally, it's like, I suppose like, any kind of nuts come in shells. It's the covering. It's the shell. It's the shell. So how does this apply to our life? When we show up in a situation where we lack the sensitivity that we should have, we're like putting plaster on our heart. That plaster hardens and becomes a shell. That's what a klipah is. And you can think about any situation in your life where maybe where I show up with a lack of sensitivity, it's because I'm not letting my heart out. I'm not letting my soul into the situation. I'm numb. I'm distant. I'm removed. I'm distracted. I'm making excuses. That's a klipa. And so part of what we're gaining here is the ability to smash our personal klipot from this lifetime or a previous lifetime. And gives us the opportunity to show up as the best version of ourselves. That was the klipa that Adam created. And Adam and Abraham smashes that klipa that Adam created. So because of that, the Zohar goes on to say that Abraham made the Holy One, the Creator, and the Shekhinah to rule over the whole world. Well, in what way did breaking the klipa create all these openings for the light of the Creator and the Shekhinah, this feminine aspect of the Creator? Let's read on. Verse 70. B'mai, begin the Kaddish Shmei Yud Tav Parabim. Ve'al ben nur lo'ok le'itokda garme lekayem be b'silei elokechem tisrufun ba'esh. V'lo od ela dil avoy terach adar b'tiyuvta. Va'ile ule'ime ulechol mare dahu dara began Eden. V'hachi it laban benura kikaspa diu monita the malka b'shikher la be'oferet. Ayil le benura v'nafak ha'oferet levar Yishmael. V'ginda nafak mitzachek ba'avorazora. V'ish ta'ar adam miluban. V'hai iu shinu Hashem dechad it galgal adam ba'el mevad le shinu Hashem shinui makom v'shinui maaseh. Right.
Yeah, he asks, how did he make the Holy One, blessed be he, and his Shekinah rulers of the world?
Okay, so that's the question. Like that's what the last Zohar ends up with, and simply we're asking the question and we're gonna dive into the answer. Go ahead.
And he answers, by sanctifying his name in public and by going into the fire to be burned, so that the words would be fulfilled in Adam, that say, the carvings of their Elohim shall you burn with fire.
Okay, so how did he cause the Creator and the Shekhinah to be more present in our world? Well, certainly he broke the klipot, but what did he do? He sanctified his name in public. What does that mean? Like he just stood up like in the town square and said, holy be his name? What is his name? So, as we've studied, in this is a reference to the Tetragrammaton, to the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So how do we sanctify the Yud Kei Vav Kei? Sanctify is like we're making it holy, we're elevating it. How do we do that? At a very simple level, by not saying it, because it's not a name we ever pronounce, but that seems like doing something by avoiding something. It's not like really doing something. So how do we sanctify it? By understanding and conducting ourselves with the understanding that that name represents the design of reality. That name is an explanation of our reality. That name, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the 10 sfirot, the 10 aspects of the energy of the Creator that find its way into our realm. When we take a step back and we understand it's not a name, it's the name, meaning it's an energy, just like your name is a reflection of your inner energy, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei is a reflection of the energy of reality. And by recognizing that and conducting ourselves in that way, we are sanctifying the name. Any questions about that? Okay, so that, and how did he do that? By disavowing idol worship, for one thing. He's saying idol worship is ridiculous. The energy is coming through Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's always coming through the Yud Kei Vav Kei. As the Yud Kei Vav Kei is a manifestation of the energy of the Creator, that fragmented energy of the Creator that comes through the 10 channels of the 10 sfirot between where we are and where the Creator is. I like to refer to it as the HVAC system of reality. Okay. Additionally, so he sanctified his name in public. How else did he do that? By going into the fire to be burned. So the story is once the king found out that Abraham had destroyed all the statues, the punishment of the day was they threw you into a fiery furnace. And he survives. Like he walks in, walks out. So for us, we might, and again, he was a very unpopular guy at that point. Imagine someone coming along and just tearing down the foundations of our society. We would not be happy. And they weren't. I heard David Guillaume explain this. Oh, strike that. It wasn't David Guillaume. Actually, it was Michael explained this in a podcast from November 4th of this past year, in which it's the Spiritually Hungry podcast, and it's titled "How to Not Care What People Think About You." That's the topic. And to illustrate this idea that we need to show up in life and not care what people think about us, he tells the story of Abraham. And Michael says he was an absolute rebel, the most rebellious guy of his time, by destroying those statues, those idols. And he, for us, remains this consciousness of doing what you know is right and not thinking about what people are going to think about you. And that's difficult because we care what people think about us at some level. But your soul doesn't care what people think about you. It's your body consciousness that thinks about it. It's your body consciousness that cares. So again, this is another opportunity for us to rise above our nature, this nature of being plugged into what people think about us, and understand that all that matters is what we think about us. That's all that matters. And that's another way that Abraham manifests more strongly the energy of the Creator and the Shekhinah. And lastly, so we have the sanctification name, not being burned by fire, and the words, the carvings of their Elohim shall you burn with fire. Keep going.
This means since Adam worshipped idols, he was considered as the carvings of their Elohim.
Okay, so in destroying those, he's also manifesting the Creator more fully. Yes.
Furthermore, he caused his father Terach to repent and brought him, his mother, and all the rulers of that age to the Garden of Eden.
So this action returned everybody of that age to the Garden of Eden. Really? They actually took a little trip and went? I mean, this is energetically by removing the blockages, by correcting for the original sin of rejecting with the Creator, the power of the Creator. We all return to that Garden of Eden, to that upper level realm of fulfillment, of energy protection, and of immortality. We're going to return there on Shavuot night. Okay, keep going.
He was thus purified like silver by fire, like the king's silver coin that was forged with a mixture of lead.
So the Zohar brings an interesting example. What does this have to do with silver coins? Because when the king is making his coins, he takes silver, he mixes it with lead, he puts a stamp on it, and that becomes the currency of the day. So it's not pure silver. In order to get the pure silver, they boil essentially the silver. They heat the silver up, and when they heat it up, it separates from the lead, and now you can pull the pure silver out. That's the metaphor for what Abraham did. Go ahead.
He was therefore put in fire, and the lead came out, which is Ishmael. Ishmael therefore was
Who is
mocking.
Ishmael? Who's Ishmael? Ishmael is Abraham's first son, the father of the Arab nation. Keep going.
Ishmael, therefore, was mocking and worshipped idols, while Adam remained purified by fire. This is
Okay,
the
so
change.
Adam gets purified with fire, but Ishmael comes out of Abraham and represents this negative aspect of Abraham. Now, just so we're clear, Ishmael also does tshuva. He also overcomes in his lifetime his limitations. And we see that he returns to Abraham, even though at a young age he was sent away. Go ahead.
This is the change of name, for his name was changed from Adam to Abraham. For when Adam was incarnated, he had to undergo a change of name, change of place, and change of deed as follows.
Okay. So this actually brings us to the title of this particular article, which is change of name, change of place, and change of deed. So the change of name was the soul of Adam reincarnating as Abraham. The change of places is happening at another time outside the Garden of Eden. And the change of deed is he destroys the idols and corrects for the idol worship that Adam committed. So for us, the same thing's going on. We don't necessarily have the same name we had in a prior incarnation. We're here to do the work in another place with another name and do the work, the deed. So anything in our life that isn't going well, we need to change it up. And this is the point of this whole section. Ours may not be as significant as the Adam-Abraham connection. It might be more significant. We have no way of knowing. It doesn't matter. This is what we're here to work on. So what this opens up for us right now is this ability to look at our life in a different way, to see the ways in which we need to approach life in a different way. In the ways in which we need to change things up. We might need a different place. We might need a different name, and we might need to be doing things in a different way. We might need one of those, or we might need all three of them. But if we're challenged at any way, big or small, and we're not able to take things to the next level, for us, it's a message that we need to do things differently. Any questions about that or comments?
I do want to say, like Abraham was like the OG rebel, right? Like he was like the original rebel. And even if you think about it, anybody who shakes up the system and, you know, kind of like it disrupts things are usually persecuted, you know, because like it just, I think it bugs people, you know, because then they would have to like change, right, and get out of their comfort zone. So I just thought that was really interesting.
Absolutely. And we see that taking place on a global level today. And even though we see things changing and maybe we're not happy about them, let's face it, we ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We can't tell what actually is going on. It might not look good, but it might be very good because we get so focused on like step 2 out of 30 steps. Like the world is evolving. And along the way, things are getting broken. But they need to be broken for us to get to the next level. How are we to view world events? We need to view it through the lens of things are continuing to evolve. And they are evolving. But along the way, there are all these perceived inequities that are occurring. And that's just the way it goes. It's not a straight line. So are we going to view the cup as half full or half empty? Your soul always sees the cup as half full. Body consciousness sees that as half empty. Okay, everybody. We're out of time. Shabbat shalom. Love you all. And
That was
shalom.
amazing.
next
Thank
week.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Goodbye.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.